Reproduction Part 1. So, big main concept. Male and female reproductive organs don't fully develop until puberty. Now they are there, they just don't work correctly. So, at puberty, we tend to see them develop fully and start creating both eggs and sperm, and then we can actually have sexual intercourse to create a baby. Female reproductive system produces the ovum or the egg. It also provides a place for the zygote, which is the combination of the egg and sperm together, to develop into a fetus and a baby. We have our ovary where the egg originally formed. Then our fallopian tube connects our ovary to our uterus. The uterus is where the zygote will actually implant to create a fetus and then the baby. Then we have our cervical canal, or our cervix, that is the pathway from our uterus to the vagina. And then we have the vagina to the outer opening. Females again have ovaries as their primary sexual reproductive organ. It produces the ova, or the egg, through oogenesis. We have estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen has three main functions: to develop this female sex characteristic, develop the eggs, prepare the uterus for pregnancy, and then progesterone comes in and helps to sustain the pregnancy and keep it going. The fallopian tubes receive the ovulated oocyte, or egg. It is the site of fertilization. So the ovary is not where the egg and sperm combine. The fallopian tube is actually where the sperm swim up and find the egg. The uterus receives, retains, and nourishes that fertilized egg. The endometrium is the inner layer of the mucosa lining of the uterus, and it houses the fertilized egg, or is sloughed off when the egg is not fertilized, and this is when we see menstruation, or your period. We also have the vagina, which is the birth canal, with a passageway for menstruation, and the primary organ for copulation, or sex, where the sperm is actually injected into the female. Looking at it a bit closer, we have our ovary, then we have our fallopian tube, where our egg and sperm will meet. It flows down into our uterus. Again, this lining is known as the endometrium. It will build up over the months and hope for a fertilized egg. If it finds it, then it'll be a nice home for that fertilized egg to therefore become the fetus and the baby. If not, we're going to get rid of that with our period or menstruation. And we're just going to slough off all of that lining along with all the blood that we've made a nice soft place for that egg to lay. And it's going to go out through the cervical canal or the cervix, out through the vagina. Male reproductive system produces sperm, spermatogenesis, and it delivers the sperm to the female reproductive system. We have our testes, where we first see our immature sperm. Then it is housed in a sac known as the scrotum. Our mature sperm actually mature in the epididymis here, which is a series of tubes, it's about 6 feet long, around the testes. Then we have our vas deferens, which is a tube that connects our epididymis to our actual ejaculation canal. Then we'll see two glands, our prostate glands and our bulbourethra glands. And then we move into the urethra and out. Okay, so the penis contains the urethra, which is both passageway for both urine and sperm ejaculate. The testes is where immature sperm are created, and the male hormone testosterone. The epididymis is where sperm mature. The seminal vesicles secrete the liquid portion of the semen. It also contains fructose that provides ATP for the sperm, and prostaglandins for sperm motility. It also aids in neutralizing the female reproductive tract. Believe it or not, the vagina is more acidic than the sperm actually like it to be. So, the seminal vesicles, or that semen liquid fluid, helps neutralize the pH of the vagina so that the sperm can survive. The vas deferens, again, are the tube that connects the epididymis and the penis. The prostate gland assists the sperm before ejaculation by providing fluid excretions, allowing a lubrication. As you grow older, this gland enlarges. That can actually cause trouble for your urinary system because it may squash the different vessels that bring the urine from your bladder to the urethra and give you problems urinating. The bulbourethral gland secretes an alkaline base to neutralize the acid before ejaculation. It also secretes mucus to line the urethra before ejaculation to protect your urethra. Testosterone has two main functions. It develops the male sex characteristics, allowing female characteristics to degrade, and helps to produce sperm. Believe it or not, everybody starts out as female. 9 weeks in is when testosterone kicks in, and then it starts degrading the female organs and actually starts building up the male organs. So, all these different phases depend on hormones and a hormone cycle. Sperm production or spermatogenesis depends on testosterone, follicle-stimulating hormone, and the luteinizing hormone to help do sperm production or spermatogenesis. Now we've seen that we take one spermatogonium and then we create 4 sperm cells from them. They're going to be haploid, which contain 23 cells. Now in eggs, the follicle-stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone regulate the egg production, or oogenesis. We actually take one cell and we create 1 egg and 3 polar bodies. These 3 polar bodies are much smaller because the egg needs all of the cytoplasm and all of the organelles because the sperm isn't going to provide that. The sperm just provides the DNA. So it needs all of the organelles and all the bits of the cell that it can so that it can propagate and become an actual fetus and baby. So we see unequal cytoplasmic division. These polar bodies, you may wonder what happens to them. Well, they actually degrade and break down, and those building blocks can be reused. The follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and estrogen play a role in the release of the egg from the ovary. The follicle surrounds the egg, and it actually comes to a point in time where the follicle erupts from the ovary, allowing the egg to escape the ovary. The egg then travels to the fallopian tube, waiting and hoping to find the sperm of its dreams. The ruptured follicle then becomes the corpus luteum, which will then release hormones to propagate or perpetuate a pregnancy. Again, we see inside of our ovary, we see our actual egg surrounded by our follicle. The follicle will allow a rupture and allow the egg to move to the fallopian tube to hopefully find its sperm of its dreams. If it does find the sperm of its dreams, it will go ahead and implant on this uterine wall, on the endometrium. If not, then during the menstruation cycle, everything will just be expelled. The follicle then actually turns into the corpus luteum. The menstrual cycle, or your period, has 3 phases. The flow phase, in which the endometrium and the unfertilized egg is shed out of the body, out of the vaginal canal, is known as the actual period. The follicle phase, in which the new and maturing egg and follicle actually release the egg from the ovary. And then the luteal phase, where the corpus luteum is formed from that follicle. Now this is a cycle that happens over and over again. And you can see that certain hormones come at certain times to cause these things to occur. Now your menstrual cycle will stop at menopause. It's about the age of 40 or 50, and not all of your eggs will be used. Only about 300 to 400 eggs will be used during your reproductive lifespan. Decline in hormone levels makes the cellular cycle irregular, and eventually your cycle will stop altogether. Fertilization occurs when the egg and sperm come together. The sperm penetrates the egg, and once one sperm gets in, the egg's membrane will keep out all other sperm. The nucleus of the sperm and egg join to create a zygote, and that zygote will then implant on that endometrium and form into a fetus and a baby. Multiple zygotes can form from fertilization. Identical twins is one egg and one sperm, and as that zygote begins to actually undergo mitosis to grow and develop, that bundle all of a sudden breaks off, and then each of these forms into an identical baby. Fraternal twins, we have two separate eggs and two separate sperm, one for each egg. And that's all I've got for you for now. Bye.